in Clinton. Monticello Police Chief Rob Bross and his wife, Piatt County Sheriff's Department School Resource Officer Lindsay Bross, share a unique work-life balance as spouses in law enforcement in the same community. Chief Bross has been in law enforcement for over 20 years. However, Deputy Bross has only been in the field for just over a decade. Before that, she worked in education and now says she gets the best of both worlds.
Just about 20 years. I'll hit my 20 in August. So I started in Champaign County and then finished up there, went down to Atwood, then here now. So.
Yeah. It's coming up on 12 years this June, end of June, and I've just been with Piatt County the entire time. Yeah, so I worked at Central High School as a teacher's aide, and that's kind of like, I love working with kids, but I knew I didn't want to be in quite that profession.
Right.
It worked out very well for me. So I really enjoy it.
Chief Bross tells the story of how the two went to school together but in 2000 they started their courtship.
We went to school together in Rantoul, and then back in 2000 I was working for the rec department as an umpire, and Linz was working, I think, as a scorekeeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we started dating back in July of 2000.
Yeah. Saw X-Men and went to Chili's for our first date.
When the two come home from a long day's work, they understand each other's problems, unlike a lot of spouses can, but the one says the other seems to attract a little bit more of the drama.
Oh yeah, we've worked a couple of times, especially with me working on day shift now. Before, when I worked midnights, not as much unless he had something going on, but generally, since we both are on day shift, sometimes I might back him up or he might back me up. It just depends on the call, really.
Yeah. But like she said, a lot of it boils over into some things for us bleed over into school. Sometimes some things the school bleeds over into us. So it's nice having that, relationship here where you would anyway, working with other agencies. But it's nice because I come home at 4, 5, 6 o'clock and I'm like, hey, guess what you're going to have tomorrow?
I'm pretty laid back.
Yeah.
So sometimes I know it is what it is, and I know it's generally nothing personal.
Right.
So I already know that. Sometimes we get, might upset about the job, but I know, again, it's nothing personal, and we just vent sometimes.
Where a lot, before it was, you're in law enforcement, maybe the spouse isn't. It's a little different. Now we both realize what the job is, so we someone comes home uptight and get that break a little bit.
I would actually, he makes it interesting sometimes. He's more of a poo magnet. For me, some things are sometimes a little more laid back, easier, and then Rob gets into some of these messes, and we get to tell, it's how did that happen to you?
The two are also parents, and Chief Bross says it's nice to have someone that works closely with the youth and can see the things they're challenged with in a 21st century world that may not have been issues when they were kids.
Some of the things is vaping, drugs, alcohol. Sometimes it seems kids are more aware of it younger. So now I feel we have to, speak about a little bit to our children, hey, watch out for this stuff. We don't have to go in specifics, but just be at least aware of what's going on. And it seems like kids younger and younger are learning more about stuff than when we were as high school.
Our parents didn't have to talk to us about cell phone, proper use of cell phones. Don't take pictures, don't take videos, don't send certain things, because we didn't have cell phones, at the time. Yeah. So it's nice to kind of see where, because not every day I'm in the school. When I was in Atwood, that was just part of the job. I would go into the school, have chicken nuggets with the kids. Our population is about 5 or 6 times what Atwood's is. So I do lean on Lindsay on hey, what are you seeing? We've had a few cases where I'm hey, what was that app you were talking about the kids using? Because I don't know what that is. I know how to text. I know how to. Those are the things I know how to do.
The two say the key to sharing the same line of work and being spouses is having open lines of communication, particularly as their children get older and are starting to get more involved. Before having kids, the Brosses enjoyed traveling and sharing experiences. Quick response codes, or QR codes, are a popular way to get information. These are scannable barcodes, often in the shape of a square, and direct you to a website, which most new phones will scan with the camera app. Jack Myers with Social Security indicates they are helpful and convenient, but like other things, require a little caution as scammers are creating QR codes to trick people into visiting fraudulent websites or download malware that compromises their personal information.
So for those that don't know, the QR stands for quick response, and a QR code is a popular way to get information. They're scannable barcodes. They actually are kind of like squares, and so it's one of those things, Seth, that I think if you saw it, you'd know what it was. They're popping up all over, and the idea is that you scan it with your phone. Several years ago, you used to have a special QR code reader, and they didn't really catch on that well. But now most phones are set up to just scan them with the camera app, so they become a lot more popular. I think they kind of gained a lot of traction during COVID because a lot of places went away from menus and things like that, and they just went to the QR codes, so you could scan those and pull up links on your website. So they are helpful. They're pretty convenient, but like most other things, they do require a little bit of caution.
There are a variety of ways scammers could get you with this. For example, they could cover official QR codes with fake ones on parking meters, menus, or magazines, or send QR codes via email or text, pretending to be from delivery companies.
One of the things you have to think about, and the reason why they could lead to fraud, is that really all they are is a link. So it's just a link to a website. And scammers have gone to that and create QR codes to trick people into visiting a fraudulent website or downloading malware that compromises their personal information. And there are a few different ways that they can. One of the things they can do is they can just cover an official QR code with a fake one on something like a look, and it takes you to that fraudulent website. They could also send QR codes through a company or somebody else.
According to Myers, scammers can request that you confirm your information due to suspicious activity on your account using imposter QR codes or by placing harmful QR codes on social media advertisements.
They could use those QR codes, those fake ones, to request that you confirm your information. Sometimes they'll use notions like, hey, there's been suspicious activity on your account. Here's this QR code we want you to use to confirm your information. They could use social media advertisements to send out harmful QR codes. So there are a variety of ways they can do it. And like I said, the QR code is really just a link. So you have to kind of treat it the same way you would any link. Sometimes I think people are more conditioned these days to be cautious of clicking on links, but they just trust those QR codes. And you have to kind of view them the same way. When you hover over a QR code, it should tell you the website that you're going to go to. So you should think about that before you click on it.
While those are some of the things that can be done through QR codes, there are ways to protect yourself from a fraudulent QR code. We'll have more on that next week with Myers on Regional Radio. In the meantime, Myers encourages you to learn more about fraud and scams at ssa.gov/scam. If you've come across a scam, including a fraudulent QR code related to Social Security, there's a link to report it to Social Security at that website. News time, 20 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday. Plenty more to get to coming up on the morning show.
This is Scott Baum at Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. We believe in putting customers first. That's how we started, and it's why we go the extra mile for our customers. Looking for a new or used vehicle? We have transparent pricing for new and used cars, trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. See all our pricing and pictures online at your convenience. Or come in and visit our full-service team today at Clinton or Farmer City. BombChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
News time is 20 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. Rivian Automotive received a significant investment from the state of Illinois to bolster its normal manufacturing facility. The Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity awarded over $1 billion as part of a new incentive package for the electric vehicle manufacturer. Under the investment, funds will create more than 550 full-time jobs within the next 5 years.
They're growing now, and they had the opportunity to grow in Georgia or in Illinois. We wanted them to stay right here and create jobs here. So that was why we created an incentive, or rather, why we put an incentive package together and made that offer to Rivian. We want them to grow right here. You know, they may choose other locations just to diversify, perhaps in a decade, but we think that this is the place they ought to grow right now. There's going to be some construction here that goes on. Those are going to be jobs that get created that we aren't even including in the 550 or so that I cited. And of course, that's just a minimum for what they may be able to do as they grow the business. So it's just what's attached to the incentives that we provided.
That's Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Rivian will pay new workers a minimum salary of just over $51,000 in the investment package. Rivian reports the R2 will go into production in the first half of 2026. With the end of cash bonds statewide last fall, prosecutors and law enforcement community are braced for impact. Now, several months into the no cash bail provision of the Safety Act, a local sheriff says much of what was feared is coming true. Madison County Sheriff Jeff Connor says the end of cash bail may be good for some, but for others, it's having the intended effect.
Recidivism is taking place, and now whenever they violate the law again, they're getting no bond whatsoever. So the people who were trying to protect some of these criminals by saying, oh, you're not able to bail yourself out, so we're going to let you walk free, well, now they don't have the opportunity for bail.
Connor says even though the their jail population is down, they still have to provide the same services, so it's not taking any of the workload off of the office. USDA has announced new nutrition standards for school meals. Gary Crawford has this report.
Let's go back a few years, 78 years to be exact, back to 1946.
This is a vital part of the work of helping to make a healthier and happier life for all our children in the years ahead.
The words of our president at that time, Harry Truman, speaking just before he signed into law the law that created the National School Lunch Program. That program still around today. It and its companion, the School Breakfast Program, serve every day about 30 million students from low-income families, serving them low or no-cost meals.
Often is the only meal or meals that youngsters may get during the day. It matters to them and to their families.
Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack, it certainly matters to this North Carolina mother, Mary Beth Cochran. She says with money very tight and rising food prices.
Honestly, I don't know what we would do without school meals.
And because those meals have become more important in the lives of many youngsters, there have been several efforts over the years to improve the nutritional quality of those meals. For example,
we know from prior experience with the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act in 2010 that a commitment to nutrition pays off, that kids get better meals, more fruits and vegetables are consumed, and we saw pre-pandemic a reduction in obesity.
And better student performance in their schoolwork. Now, the law gives the Agriculture Department the authority to set nutrition for foods served in the school lunch and breakfast programs. And the USDA has come out with a rule for a set of nutrition standards for school meals, standards that will put and also in flavored milk. Ag Secretary Vilsack told reporters.
I think all of this is designed to ensure that students have quality meals and that we meet parents' expectation that their children receive healthy and nutritious meals at school.
Tom Vilsack says schools will have plenty of time to meet these standards.
It takes time to transition to phase in a number of the aspects of this new rule. And so you'll see a series of 25 to the fall of 27.
Vilsack said many schools are already meeting the standards, and he pledged help and flexibility for those schools that are having trouble. Again, as President Truman said back in 1946.
This is a vital part of the work of helping to make a healthier and happier life for all our children in the years ahead.
Or as North Carolina mom Mary Beth Cochran told us last week.
Our children are tomorrow's leaders, innovators, and difference makers, and we should be doing everything we can to support their health.
In Washington, Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
News this Monday morning. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Well, again, we stream to Facebook and YouTube. We're also live online all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com each and every morning. And, of course, check out the latest in local news anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. News time again is 27 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Monday. Coming up in local sports, a busy Saturday of high school sports across the area. Normal Community, a doubleheader winner on Saturday in high school baseball. Normal West took one of two on the road on Saturday in non-conference play as well. Illinois State, Illinois baseball, big winners on Sunday and big winners on the weekend as well. Those stories in sports next.
I'm Len Casper, the voice of the White Sox Radio Network. Follow the Sox across central Illinois on the Big 1520 WHOW.
Brought to you by the Clinton Sports Boosters, Liberty Village, the Clinton Community YMCA, Keith Wade, your country financial agent, all in Clinton, and Connects Us Fiber Internet. It's no secret that employers are having a difficult time hiring qualified personnel, whether full or part-time. The Miller Media Group wants to help you, the employer, to find the candidates you're looking for. That's why we've created IllinoisJobPost.com. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. This website is part of a broad radio and internet employment campaign available through the Miller Media Group. Contact your account manager or email sales@randyradio.com for more information. IllinoisJobPost.com is where we put the power of radio and the internet to attract prospective candidates.
More than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio for their news, weather, sports, and a community connection. It's the backbone of the emergency alert system. It's critical that we keep AM radio in cars because when cell and internet services are down, this free emergency service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
I never thought about being a salesperson ever until I realized we are all in sales. I'm Pat Bryson, and I've spent my entire adult life creating campaigns for businesses using the powerful medium of radio. The Miller Media Group has immediate openings in our sales department, and we might be looking for you. The person who will excel in sales is self-managed and self-motivated to achieve higher goals. They win if they help other people to win. They enjoy helping local businesses succeed. This is a full-time job. If you are good enough to join our team, we will train you and support you. I train salespeople all over the world, and I'm ready to help you become a top multimedia specialist with the Miller Media Group. Previous sales experience is a plus, but not a requirement. But a long-term career is. Are you looking for us? Send your resume to sales@randyradio.com.
RN News, I'm Rich Thomason.
Cars, homes, and businesses underwater. Hundreds of high water rescues across southeast Texas over the weekend. The region swamped by days of torrential rains, and though the storms are easing, the floodwaters remain. Forecasters warn of the possibility of powerful storms, including tornadoes, across the plains today. As the week goes on, storms could slam the Midwest, the South, and the East. Much speculation, but nothing concrete on who Donald Trump will choose as his running mate. South Carolina GOP Senator Tim Scott's name has been mentioned, but he says it did not come up during a weekend donors gathering. Trial set to resume today. The former president continues to slam the trial as a political witch hunt. On Wall Street, Dow futures 137 points higher. NASDAQ futures are up 54. More details at srnnews.com.
The words you are about to hear are live.
With SRN Sports, I'm Ron DeRockstra to the hardwood, where Donovan Mitchell scored 39 points last night. Kerry LeVert added 15, and the Cavaliers avoid a potentially franchise-shifting loss by rallying for a 106-94 win over the Magic in their Game 7. The Cavs will play Boston in the next round. Stars beat the defending Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights 2-1 Sunday night to wrap up the first-round series. Dallas will host Colorado in the second round. Game 1 is Tuesday night. Meanwhile, in the East second round, Game 1, Rangers beat the Hurricanes 4-3. Kyle Larson beat Chris Buescher to the line at Kansas Speedway Sunday in the closest finish in NASCAR history. The official winning margin for the Cup Series race Sunday was 1,000th of a second. A caution flag forced a green-white checkered finish, and Larson pulled behind Buescher on the backstretch of the final lap, then came around him through the final corner. This is SRN Sports. In golf, the Byron Nelsons decided in extra holes.
Taylor Pendrith took advantage of a dramatic two-shot swing on the final hole to clinch his first PGA Tour victory at the CJ Cup Byron Nelson tournament in Texas. Pendrith trailed the Texan Ben Knowles by one shot, coming to the par 5 18th closing hole, and watched on as Cole struggled from the greenside rough on his way to a disastrous bogey that dropped him back to second place. Pendrith was able to two-putt the final hole for a birdie to secure the win, posting a final 67 for a tournament total of 23 under. I'm Graham Agard.
Winners in baseball yesterday were the Diamondbacks, the Phillies, and the Nationals, the Rays, the White Sox, the Marlins. Orioles get a W, as do the Yankees, the Guardians, and the Red Sox, the Mariners, the Rangers, the Pirates, the Cubs, and the LA Dodgers. With SRN Sports, I'm Ron DeRockstra.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Strong starting pitching helped Normal Community sweep a double dip with Andrew Tinley Park 6-2 and 3-0 from Normal Community High School in non-conference high school baseball action. In the opener, Brady Bankston allowed a run on 6 hits with no walks and 5 strikeouts. Josh Eisfelter paced the offense with 2 runs batted in, finishing 1 for 2. Caleb Hackman, Riley Hendren, and Owen Kavanaugh had doubles for the Ironmen. Anthony Gura and Lucas Drangwitz added RBIs. In the second game, Jack Richards was lights out over 4 1/3 innings of shutout ball for Normal. He struck out 3 while issuing 2 walks and permitting 5 hits. Reed Johnson and Gavin Bourne had RBIs for Normal. Drew Stevens hit a double. Normal Community did not have a player record multiple hits in either game. The second game of the day was only 5 innings. With the 2 wins, Normal Community improves to 26-3 overall and resume Big 12 play today, traveling to Bloomington High School. The 2 inner-city rivals played to an 11-10 8-inning thriller on Friday. Normal West went on the road Saturday morning and split a doubleheader, taking the opener 8-1, but falling in walk-off fashion in the second game, 9-8 from Bourbonnais in non-conference high school baseball action. Sam Discarpentry doubled twice and drove in 2. Jackson Crancer doubled, drove in 3, and finished 1 for 3, adding a stolen base for the Wildcats. Blake Crancer was 1 for 4 with a double, 2 RBIs, and a stolen base. Braden Whitehead added an RBI in the opener. Chase Reinhardt got the win for Normal West, going 6 1/3 innings of one-run ball. The run was unearned, and the freshman struck out 8, walked 3, and allowed 4 hits. In the second game, after Normal West blew the game open with a 5-run fifth inning to go up 8-6, Caleb McBurney doubled in the winning run, giving Bradley Bourbonnais the walk-off win in a 5-inning contest. Jackson Crancer again paced the Wildcats offense, going 2 for 4 with a double, 3 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, and 2 runs scored. Sam Jenkins was 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs and a stolen base, while Braden Whitehead and Taylor Hafferman hit doubles. Brady Hart and Reinhardt had RBIs for Normal West in the loss. Of the 9 runs permitted by Wildcats pitching, only 1 was earned. The Wildcats did issue 7 walks in the second game. Normal West is 16-11 overall. They travel to Peoria Richwoods this afternoon. Washington pulled away late in the first game of a doubleheader with Bloomington High School Saturday, then made quick work of the Purple Raiders in the second game to sweep 2 in non-conference high school baseball action from Bloomington High School. The Panthers extended a 6-1 lead to 11-1 in the top of the 6th with a 5-run frame and wrapped up the run rule win in the opener. Zach Spittle had the only RBI for Bloomington. The Purple Raiders defense struggled, committing 4 errors. Washington was paced by Braden Vanderheit, who was 3 for 3 with 3 runs scored in the 9th spot in the lineup. Seth Harmon, Tyler Humphrey, and Jackson Stewart drove in 2 runs apiece for the Panthers. Tyler Didrick allowed a run on 2 hits with 5 strikeouts and 2 walks in 5 innings for Washington. In the second game, Brady Johnson and Zane Schulte combined for 5 innings of 3-hit shutout ball for Washington as the Panthers took the second game 10-0. Jacob Calhoun, Wesley Stumbaugh, and Luke Huffaker had the only hits for the Purple Raiders. Carter Prina and Tyler Humphrey drove in 2 runs apiece to lead the Panthers offense in the second game. Camden Augustine had 3 hits, while Dylan McGinnis had 2. Washington goes to 16-6 on the year. Bloomington falls to 14-12. Albeit a thrilling game, Bloomington will look to avenge an 11-10 8-inning defeat Friday when they host Normal Community today. Illinois walked off Ohio State with a run rule win at Illinois Field. Brody Harding had a huge day at the plate for Illinois, going 3 for 4 with 2 runs, a homer, and 5 RBIs. Drake Westcott went yard, finishing 2 for 3 with a homer, an RBI, and 3 runs scored. Ryan Moorman had the walk-off hit in the 8th with a 2-run double. Jake Rons got the win in the 12-2 romp for out of the Illinois bullpen. The right-hander went 2 2/3 innings, giving up a run on 3 hits and struck out 1. Regan Hall picked up his second win of the season, tossing 3 shutout innings without allowing a hit, walking 1 and punching out 4. Cal Hezja extended his on-base streak to 29 games. The Fighting Illini wrap up their 7-game homestand with their final home games of the season in a 3-game set, hosting Iowa next weekend. Illinois State secured a Sunday sweep over Southern Illinois, 10-5 from Duffy Bass Field in Normal. Senior Augie Rasmussen led the Redbirds with 3 hits and 5 RBIs. Back-to-back homers for the Salukis in the first yielded an early 4-0 lead for SIU, but the 24-22 Redbirds got 2 runs in the bottom of the first on Rasmussen's 12th homer of the season to trim the margin to 4-2. Illinois State would add 3 in the third, with a long 2-run bloop double for Rasmussen and a passed ball for a 5-4 lead. Southern Illinois tied the score at 5 with an RBI single to center in the 7th, but in the bottom half of the frame, ISU stormed ahead with 5 runs on 4 hits, including back-to-back 2 RBI singles to take the commanding 10-5 lead. Southern Illinois, who drops to 26-22 overall, and 9-12 in the Valley, was led by 3 hits from Jake Allgaier. Illinois State, who goes to 12-9 in the Missouri Valley, travels to Chicago next weekend for a 3-game set at UIC starting on Friday. In a game heard here on WHOW, Eloy Jimenez homered and Garrett Crochet tossed 6 effective innings to help the White Sox to a 5-1 win over the St. Louis Cardinals on Sunday. The Sox had lost 14 of its first 16 road games this season. Paul DeJong added a run-scoring double for the Sox, who won their first road series of the season. DeJong spent the first 7 seasons in St. Louis from 2017 to 2023. Wilson Contreras homered for St. Louis, which has lost 4 of 5. Jimenez hit his 4th home run of the season off reliever Yovani Gallegos to snap a 1-all tie leading off the 7th. The drive kick-started a 4-run outburst. Crochet allowed a run on 3 hits. He had given up 16 earned runs in his last 16 2/3 innings over 4 starts. He struck out 6 and did not walk a batter. Brian Ramos recorded his first RBI with the sac fly in the 2nd in his first major league at bat. He added a single in the 7th inning. DeJong, Robbie Grossman, and Gavin Sheets had 2 hits apiece for the Sox. St. Louis fell to 5-14 in day games this season. The Cardinals dropped to a season-low 4 games below 500 at 15-19. The White Sox have yet to announce a starter for the first of a 3-game series tonight in Tampa, while Cardinals right-hander Kyle Gibson faces the Mets and left-hander Sean Manaea in the first of a 3-game series in St. Louis. Gibson struck out a season-high 9 over 7 innings in a 2-1 win over Detroit on Tuesday. Javier Assad pitched 6 sparkling innings, and the Chicago Cubs beat Freddie Peralta and the Milwaukee Brewers on Sunday in the rubber game of their weekend set. Assad allowed 4 hits, struck out 4, and walked 3, lowering his ERA to 1.66. The right-hander has permitted 2 or fewer runs in each of his 7 starts this season. Chicago posted 2 straight wins against Milwaukee after losing 3-1 on Friday. The starting pitchers for the Cubs combined for 18 1/3 scoreless innings in the series, allowing a total of 9 hits. Peralta matched his career high with 6 walks in 5 innings. He allowed 3 hits and struck out 5 on a sunny but cool day at Wrigley Field. It was the right-hander's first start since he was suspended 5 games for his role in a brawl with the Rays on Tuesday. He is appealing to punishment by Major League Baseball. The 21-14 Cubs grabbed control with 3 runs in Peralta's final inning. Nico Horner hit a 2-run double, advanced on a ground out, and scored on a 2-out wild pitch. Dansby Swanson added a leadoff homer in the 6th against Diego Vieira, and Christopher Morel singled home Mike Tauchman in the 7th. Morel went 1 for 1 with 3 walks. Milwaukee put runners on 1st and 2nd in the 4th and 5th innings, but Assad escaped each time. Oliver Dunn bounced to 1st for the final out of the 4th, and Tyler Black struck out looking in the 5th. Assad also got help from Swanson in the 1st when the Gold Glove shortstop made a sliding play on a Willie Adames grounder for the final out, stranding a runner on 3rd. Cubs outfielder Saya Suzuki ran the bases and took batting practice before the game. He's dealing with a right oblique strain. Cody Bellinger, dealing with a right rib fracture, ran the bases and was scheduled for some swings, while Cubs right-hander Kyle Hendricks is expected to throw a bullpen. Cubs left-hander Justin Steele is slated to return for the opener of a 3-game series against San Diego tonight. Steele has been sidelined with a left hamstring strain. Yu Darvish gets the ball for the visiting Padres. Kyle Larson came roaring around the outside of Chris Buescher on the final lap at Kansas Speedway, banging doors with him all the way to the finish line, only to be told by his team over the radio everything he had given was not quite enough. It wasn't until Larson was in turn 3 of the cool-down lap that he saw his spotter, Tyler Mahn, dancing high above the track in the closest finish in NASCAR history, one that only became official with a grainy black and white photo at the line. The number 5 car was declared the winner by 1,000th of a second, every bit as close as the Kentucky Derby a day earlier, and an even more dramatic finish than the 3 at the line conclusion to the Cup Series race in Atlanta earlier in the season. Not so awesome for Buescher's team, which had begun celebrating before the result became official. His crew chief, Scott Graves, asked to meet with NASCAR officials in their hauler. Shown the finish line photo, he accepted the outcome. The edge-of-your-seat finish came after a caution for Kyle Busch's spin forced the green-white checkered finish Larson had pulled behind Buescher on the back stretch of the last lap, then came around him in the final corner. To the naked eye, Buescher looked as if he had edged ahead, and even Larson had started to congratulate his team on a strong second-place run. A few minutes later, he was doing a celebratory burnout on the front stretch. It was a brilliant start to a busy month of May for Larson, who will attempt to run the Indianapolis 500 and the Coke 600 on the same day, Memorial Day weekend. The win was his second of the season for Hendrick Motorsports, and it gave him a bit of retribution after finishing second to Denny Hamlin last week at Dover and in the spring race at Kansas a year ago. Martin Truex Jr. finished fourth Sunday. Hamlin, who had the lead on the final restart, faded back to fifth. There were no cautions other than 4 stage breaks until Jimmy Johnson wrecked with 91 laps to go. The 7-time champ, back in the number 84 for a second straight week, was hit from behind by Corey LaJoie after he had checked up. The yellow flags then came in quickly. Hamlin made contact with Austin Cindric, sending the number 2 into a wreck that spun out Bubba Wallace and Michael McDowell. Harrison Burton wrecked on the restart, and Joey Logano did on the next one. The series heads to Darlington next for its annual Throwback Weekend. Get sports anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Overcast today with a slight chance for showers. High of 75. Winds out of the east, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Thunderstorms likely. Tonight, lows dip down to about 61. Cloudy skies expected. Mainly sunny. Tomorrow, storms likely. High temperatures reach up to 78. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Right now, it's 56 degrees.
From the Country Financial Studio, I'm Rita Frazier. This is the RFD Livestock Report. Catching up with Cheryl Pitt of Illinois Pork Producers for annual Bacon Day activities.